Hey, Coach Hall.
So you still got the Spider-Man on
No, this is my day outfit. First question is, how you feeling today?
Good. A lot of corrections that have been made from Friday. I think the biggest correction is something that my coaches nor I can really be in charge of. And hopefully, over the past 36 hours, they came to realize that they really could have played with the number 15 team in the country, but they didn't believe that until after they got on the field. Yes, we gave up a long touchdown in the first quarter run, and it was third and forever. So you have a mistake there. We rectify that mistake by getting a pick. It's not a pick six, but it's a pick 80. I needed Hurt to have a couple inches longer on his legs. He probably would have scored. But it did set up our one score on the day. Then the team started to believe that they could play. Because then we got another turnover on the next drive too, right? So getting the team to really believe that they can play with anybody before they actually step on the field. Hopefully, Nate, that's what the ultimate learning part of this weekend was. Now, we still did a lot of very, very bad things, but we did some very, very good things as well. Like I said, when you have that many sacks, you're not going to have rushing yards until they don't include sacks as rushing yards anymore. But against that team who has a very, very good defense, we moved the ball better than we had in the past, really, even against Elmhurst. So, again, that light that's basically off / flickering above their heads, like there were some moments where the light came on, right, and it was on for a couple seconds. It went back out, but at least the light was on for a couple seconds. So, and then again, playing a lot of freshmen. Those freshmen learning. Oh, hey, this is different. This is big boy football now. I played, against really, let's call it the best that this country has to offer at the D3 level. So hopefully going forward, that will also serve these young guys who should not be playing. Let's be honest, they shouldn't be playing, but can give them some confidence as well as to, hey, I played against the number 1 team in the country, number 15 team in the country, 2 teams that may go to the playoffs depending upon what happens with WashU this weekend, and take that experience and move forward with it. Well, if I can play with these guys, then I should be able to play with these teams that aren't ranked and these teams that are also very good in this league. So hopefully we learn that from this weekend.
Yeah, following with the freshmen, there was a lot of new people that played during that game. So how do you evaluate that?
You have to. Again, I think, like I said last week, I have to remove physical mistakes from mental mistakes, right? Did you just get beat because he's stronger than you or faster than you or he's a better football player than you, which no one wants to say that out loud. Nobody wants to say that out loud, but sometimes they're just better than you, right? So I have to remind myself, you're not getting mad at physical mistakes. I'm getting mad at jumping off sides, lining up in the wrong spot, not running the wrong route, or running the wrong route, not being in the right coverage. Things that we haven't changed the defense or the offense drastically in this whole time. So we are still calling the same plays. Now we may have to line up a defense to a different formation slightly. We might have to run the offensive play out of a different formation. But these are the same concepts that we've been running all year. So, I would like to believe that, they're on the freshmen that we have, and sophomores, but the freshmen that we have been on a much, much shorter improvement leash than most of the time because they are having to play. So, for instance, you have a brand new long snapper and a brand new punter in the game, right? And a brand new long snapper and Vinny Couch, and our new punter, David Navarro. Well, they're both freshmen, right? So they're snapping the ball in the first game, and they're punting the ball in their first game. I guess David punted a couple weeks ago. But now you're the guy, right? Like, there is no, I just filled in because the helmet broke. And, you know, I will say that, you know, that battery was responsible for 2 points because of the safety. There's also the fumble, or the snap that rolled on the ground that they recovered basically on the 2-yard line, right? So, you know, there's another 9 points in special teams that, you know, the defense, you know, even if we had the, you know, Dallas Cowboys out there, you're not stopping very many people if they have chances on the 1 and 2-yard line. So, you know, I have to, you know, look at the other things, right? Like Vinny snapping the ball and going down and covering. You know, David getting some of those, you know, other snaps and corralling them and getting them off. You know, our 4 of our 5 linemen, you know, this week. So to say that I can't evaluate their performance because they're freshmen, I can't do that. I can't lower the standard to that point. I have to make sure that, hey, the standard is somewhere way up here, and we're not way up here, and probably can't even see where we are right now. So making sure that, you know, we're holding them accountable still. We're still calling them up. We're still coaching you. I tell them all the time, and they won't understand this probably fully, Nate, until they're gone from this place. But if I'm yelling at you, I still like you. If I stop yelling at you, that means I gave up. That means that I've yelled, I've corrected, I've talked, I've to some degree probably begged for you to do something repeatedly, and you don't do it or can't do it, and usually it's you won't do it. It's not necessarily ever that you can't do it. So if I stop yelling at you, that's when you should be worried. And they won't necessarily get that concept till they're a senior, hopefully, maybe before. But even some of my seniors and juniors, you know, they still feel that way. So, you know, like I said last week, this is about the process. If you had told me that we would be 3-5 at this point in time in the season, with a chance to play Carroll and a chance to play Carthage at the end of the season, to try to win those 2 games and be 5-5, Nate, I would have taken it all day long. Right? So we have Carroll coming in here this weekend. They are 5-3 right now, so you know we're trying to get to that mark where we can be one of those 5-5 teams at the end of this year after these last 2 games, to put ourselves in a better position for recruiting mostly, and for this year these seniors to go out, you know, at least saying that they, you know, you don't have a losing season. Now, again, that's bare minimum, right, to say you don't want to have a losing season, but that hasn't happened around here in a couple of years. And for these seniors at least to go out understanding that they set the foundation at a 5-5 for us to go forward from that and catapult ourselves with the new building, you know, with another recruiting class under our belt, to say that we're going to go and make some more noise next year. That's all still on the table for us. So these 2 weeks are very, very, very important for us as a program. You know, these young kids still playing and gaining confidence from that. And then ultimately, just like anything else with college football, this comes down to recruiting. Right? To say that you're 5-5 versus 3-7, that's a big difference. Right? Like that's a really big difference. You know, you're including yourself in the middle of the pack in this league, and not at the bottom half of this league. So hopefully we can play this game to the best of our ability and play, you know, understanding that this team is 5-3, we're 3-5, and we need to get this win. You know, it also allows us to go 4-1 at home. That's a pretty big deal. We haven't been 4-1 at home in a very, very long time. I looked at that up this weekend. And, you know, the last game of the season, not skipping over Carroll at all, but last game of the season, now you're playing that game in Wisconsin it's a travel game, it's an overnight game, and now you're playing to go 5-5. That's a really big difference in mindset and how you prepare for the game, all of those things that I can't manufacture unless we win this game this weekend. So it is very, very important to young guys to keep growing, to keep trusting us, for us to keep trusting in them, and keep going with this thing and win this game this weekend so that we have, to some degree, this big prize that we can win at the end of the season.
And then last question is, since it is our last home game and senior night, what is this game going to mean to you?
Senior night is always, it's always special, right? When you're a senior in college football, Nate, you talk about the numbers involved, and 2% of kids get to go from high school to college to play football. There's rarely any numbers that show you, all right, you can go to football and go to college and play football. How many people last and stay there and play football too, right? So to me, and I guess it was probably, a lot of it based off of my experience in college too, right? I got a red shirt and then I played and I got hurt and then played and got hurt. Didn't listen to my coaches. Those things that I'm trying to get those guys not to do, right? So to me, getting to, for these seniors getting to this weekend, and it's not the best thing to have your football banquet in the senior night when it's not the last game of the season, but to be able to applaud those guys going out the door, in order to be able to have a 5-5 season for those guys going out the door, but the emotions of that day specifically. I told the team Sunday, on senior day, I guaranteed a victory on the radio, my senior day. And we did not win senior day. It was, we were playing Kentucky. And they had Tim Couch, the next year's first pick in the draft. And I think they beat us 14-7 because our offense couldn't score if you gave them the ball on the one. And I had a really good game, but we lost, which is all that matters. And so I didn't apologize for guaranteeing the victory, but nonetheless, I was wrong. So the emotions of that day and talking to the seniors this week and talking to the leadership council yesterday, all year long I've been saying, hey, don't play with emotion because emotion can play with you as well. You need to play with passion. It lasts longer. It is more controllable. So there's nothing I'll be able to say to these seniors to get them, not being fully jacked up and adrenaline and emotions flowing all through their body because, this is going to be the last game they play on the Frank. There's some emotions behind that. So being able to, again, contain those emotions and use them in the right way and compartmentalize them and then spit them back out to really good football. That's, what I'm hoping, but you also only have, 9 seniors on this football team. There's also, a problem that we have to rectify going forward and keeping more of these guys here and them having a better experience than they've had previously. So all of those things, they fall on my shoulders. I know that, and we have to be able to put a better product on the field so people will come see us. I understand that. We have to make sure that we are still coaching these guys as hard as we did day one. This is for coaches too, right? Like this is, the end of the season. What are you playing for? Do you have something to play for? And right now we have a lot to play for. So I expect these guys to go out and play really well this week. We know we're going to probably be playing with about 65 or less guys this week. I think they took that challenge on going up there last week to play Wheaton with only 58 people. The guys that were on the field took the challenge, but they didn't, like I said, they didn't truly believe. So hopefully what happened last weekend is they understand that, all right, Coach Hall probably wasn't lying to us. We need to accept that fact and trust him that he knows what he's talking about and these coaches know what they're talking about. And if I go out and do my job, we will win this football game. If I go out and I don't do my job, we won't win this football game. So There's a whole bunch of reasons why these last 2 weeks are important for us in this program. Least of all is making sure we can finish this season on a 5-5 record. Most important of all, this goes to recruiting and laying the foundation for this program going forward. So we win this game, and then we worry about winning a game away from home this year, because again, that's something to play for, right? To say that we got shut out on the road, 1-4-1, 4 out of 5 at home, then we're still gonna have a losing record, right? So we have to, win this game at home, go 4-1, and then find a way to beat Carthage next week up there. A game where you have half your team is freshmen traveling for the first time, staying in a hotel, and all those things that head coaches worry about that no one thinks about. All of those things will be, very prevalent next week. So let's win this game this week, go out and do what we're supposed to do, and get some people back from being healthy, or get some people back healthy. And there will be some more opportunities for young guys to step in and play this week because of other injuries we got or sustained in the game. And these guys just understanding and seeing the sacrifices that their teammates are making. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Andrew Smith. Right? Andrew, the senior, was on most of our special teams this year, playing his butt off, changed his body, he's working out, joined a frat. Like, this dude is awesome, right? Good grades. And in that game, literally, excuse me, literally sacrificing his arm because he breaks his arm for our defense to be able to have one more go at it. You know what happened on the next play?
More.
Perk intercepted that ball and ran it back 80 yards. That's the microcosm, fellas, of just let the defense play one more play. I don't care where the ball goes, just let them play one more play. And make the offense make a mistake. Make the offense have to snap the ball one more time. And, quarterback threw it, Perk picked it off and ran 80 yards. So, getting these guys to understand that every single play is important. You can't take a play off. And a kid like that sacrificing his body because he's playing in the first quarter because our starting stand linebacker couldn't play in the first quarter because he was late, right? Team rules. Next guy steps up. And Andrew made the ultimate sacrifice, your body, for just one play, and the defense being able to line up and play one more play. That's what we want, right? Those are the sacrifices we make, that we understand that we have to make when we play this game. And being able to put that on the line, to put your body on the line for your teammates, hopefully that resonates with them enough that they will also be willing to do the same thing for these last 2 weeks of the season. So I think we are definitely learning, Nate. I think we are making some improvements. I think our freshmen are getting that badly needed experience that you can't just take a pill for that, right? There ain't no pill for experience. They're getting that. The part that stinks is they're getting that on the run in a very tough conference against some very good opponents. But I told the freshmen they can't be freshmen anymore. It's a raw deal, but they can't be freshmen anymore. So the maturation process has to speed up. Their knowledge base needs to get bigger faster, and they need to get bigger faster. We weighed them in this morning, Nate, and I was going through looking at the weights before you came in here. Got a lot of Coach Sander and Coach JB have a lot of work to do this off season. So, but these 2 games are like I said, if you had told me before the season we'd have a chance to go and win these 2 games to be 5-5, I would have jumped at that opportunity. So now here it is. Just play these 2 games, see what happens.
All right, thanks, Coach, for your time, and good luck this week.
Thanks, Sam.